Now, if you're in the market for an S24 and you're not sure whether you want the Plus or the Ultra, I hope this video can help you out a little bit. Now, you guys already probably know the main differences between the two phones, so that's not what I'm going to go into in this video, but instead I'm going to reframe or rephrase the way that maybe you can go about making that decision. Now, to start, I want to address 3 factors that I think shouldn't influence your decision. The first is, believe it or not, the price. $300 is a big jump, but honestly, for those in the market for a $1,000 phone, I don't think just because of the price, one should avoid getting the Ultra. I think the more important question is it worth the extra $300? Now, factor number 2 is the size. I've heard online and I've read a little bit that people say the Ultra is just a little bit too big for them. But I think if you're in the market for a flagship smartphone, it's going to be big and you've already resolved to using one hand, your mandatory pinky anchor, and it's just going to be a two-handed experience overall. I don't think just a few millimeters should sway you from not getting the S24 Ultra as well. Now, factor number 3 is that you actually do get quite a bit of value for the $300. You get titanium rails, you also get the S Pen, better camera, extra camera, a nicer screen or glass experience. But none of these are actually reasons for you to jump on paying extra $300 for the Ultra, unless you know you need the S Pen or the periscope telephoto camera. Now that we've addressed those 3 factors, the question still remains, should you buy the S24 Plus or the Ultra? And I think if you're someone who's debating on this question and you're doing a lot of research, it makes a lot of sense for you to purchase the Ultra. For those who are simply curious about the differences between the two, it probably makes more sense for you to just purchase the Plus. To further drive my point home, Samsung made an interesting decision to design their non-flagship model, the S24 Plus, to have all the specs of a flagship phone. If they never released the Ultra, the S24 Plus would have been fine for most people, except for the few who appreciate the details that others don't look at, or the few who don't want to feel like they settled for less than their iPhone 15 Pro Max peers, and the few who can appreciate how Samsung took the effort to provide a masterclass of a phone. Despite the similar appearances at first glance between the S24 Plus and the Ultra, the user experience is actually quite different. Not only is the chassis completely different, but you get a different screen, different glass, more premium materials, and overall different experience. However, if you're going to throw on a bulky case with a thick screen protector, I don't think it matters as much and those differences are lessened. Now, to further drive my point home, with the iPhone, I was never able to confidently recommend the non-Pro versions to family and friends, simply because they really throttled the non-Pro versions of their iPhones by taking away a lot of RAM, and generally the user experience of the screens were a letdown. But with the S24 Plus, I don't feel that as strongly. They gave the Plus everything they wanted to, and threw the cherries on top for the Ultra. Now, just a quick word on the S24, the non-Plus or the non-Ultra version. I didn't actually purchase that to review or look at because just from the spec sheet alone, it reminded me a lot of the iPhone, the non-Pro versions, where they really spec down the base model and you end up losing a lot for the $200 that you're trying to save. Much lower pixel density, a lot less RAM, slower SSD storage, smaller battery, smaller screen, slower charge. You're losing a lot for those $200. Now, if price is a big factor, which I completely understand, I think the appropriate question to ask is it worth considering the Samsung phone versus other Android phones? But if you're set on Samsung, I'd highly recommend that you just save up a few more $100s to go for the Plus version. In conclusion, I think the S24 Plus is a great phone for most people who just want a no-nonsense, great Samsung phone that'll last them for a couple of years. But for those who care about all the little details and also appreciate a really different user experience, the way that it feels in your hand, you should definitely go for the Ultra. But for those who just want a great phone, again, the Plus is there for you and you're not compromising much at all. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.